What's up, everyone? My name is Sir Romeo, and welcome to my my vlog. So I've been getting a lot of messages. Sir Romeo, di ba nag-work ka dati sa US? Why did you leave US? Bakit nasa China ka na? How did you get there? Direct hire ba? Do we need to go through an agency? All these questions, I'll try to answer that in this vlog. So make sure you finish the video. If you have any questions, just comment it down and I'll try to answer that for you. Ready? Let's go. Well, there are pros and cons of working in the United States and also in China. I'll have a separate vlog for that kasi medyo mainit-init na discussion yan eh. Because before, I've got messages from some people saying, hala, nasa US ka na, ba't ka pa pumunta ng China? I'm like, you don't know what's happening in the US, so just, you wouldn't be able to say things or ask those questions unless you lived there for at least a year. And you would understand and you would realize why I made this decision. But again, it's on another video. For now, let's just focus on how to land a job in China. All right, ready your pen and paper? I'm gonna start right now. Well, China has always been hiring foreign teachers, specifically international schools. Most of them would prefer native English speakers, but we're Filipinos. And although we're not native speakers, some schools would still hire Filipino teachers because we have this neutral accent that everyone can understand. Well, as far as I know, China or some cities in China have become a little bit stricter when it comes to hiring English teachers. They would not give you a permit unless you came from a native speaking country. So for Filipino teachers who wanted to apply as an English teacher, it's gonna be a little bit difficult. But if you are teaching math, science, like myself, again, PE, social studies, then it's perfect time for you to apply because they would welcome and hire you without any judgment or whatsoever. The very first thing that you have to do is go to your university or your college, bring a copy of your diploma and your transcript of record, photocopy those. Sometimes your school would need you to request for new copies so that it's updated. So get all those documents and tell them that you need to have CAV or certification, authentication, and verification, which you will use to apostille the documents in the DFA office. If you wanted to include your TESOL or TEFL certificate and your licensure certificate, you can also get a copy of that. Once you have all that, make sure you have your updated NBI clearance because you need that to be apostilled also. Once you have everything, your TOR, your diploma, TESOL certificate, your certificate of licensure, and your NBI clearance, then go to the DFA office to have it apostilled. Again, in my case, I only apostilled my TOR, my diploma, and my NBI clearance because I'm a science teacher. I don't need to have a TESOL or TEFL certificate, and licensure certificate was not required by my school, so I didn't include that. Apostille looks like this. So make sure you have all the documents in one set. Because in my case, I had to do it twice kasi nahuli yung NBI clearance ko, so I had to pay double. Pero kung isang set lang siya, I think I paid 1,400 if I'm not mistaken. Basta ganon. So isang set na lang siya para isang bayaran na lang din. I'm telling you to do this first because once you get hired, your employer would immediately ask for these documents so that they could start processing your work notification letter. So mas okay nang maaga siya kaysa mag-hole ka pag na-hire ka na nila. Mamaya magbago pa isip, diba? Getting your documents apostilled sa DFA would only take like less than a week. Now, once you're done with the DFA, bring your apostilled documents to your nearest Chinese embassy so that you can also be authenticated. Of course, there's a separate fee for that, so you need to make sure you bring your apostilled documents so that you can get stamped. And because if your employer or the school asks for your documents, they would be looking for this Chinese embassy stamp. Getting it stamped by the Chinese embassy would also take like less than a week. So make sure you have everything set before you start applying. But you could also do it right after applying. But again, it's going to take you time. But it's up to you. Bahala kayo. Malaki na kayo. Number 2, so once you have all those documents, it's time for you to apply online. My suggestion is, as much as possible, don't go through any agents or agency. Try to get a job on your own para direct hire, para wala ka nang asikasuhin, because we don't know the legitimacy of some agents. Some of them would just be fishing for information. Some of them may be asking for fees or whatsoever, so I'm not sure. Because I had a situation, yung unang agent na nag-offer sa akin, the contract that she asked me to sign was a contract between me and the agent. And then when I asked her, when will I be able to sign the contract between me and the school, she said, pag nasa China na raw ako, doon ko raw siya pipirmahan. So, it's a little shady, especially I need to get that contract authenticated. So how do you apply online? There are a lot of websites that you could choose from. The main go-to of mga applicants is the echinacities.com. It's like jobstreet.com here in the Philippines. And just sign up and filter. If you want to look for science teaching position, just type in science teacher. You have also the option to choose the specific location or city. But in my case, I just put mainland China and whatever city, that's it. If they invite me for an interview, let's go for that. Another website that you could go to is the Dave ESL Cafe. This website will give you a lot of options to choose from depending on what type of teaching position you are looking for. You can also search on Google, like science teacher in China. It would lead you to some websites. If you have a specific school in China that you wanted to teach, go to their website and look for the HR or principal's email address, ask how you can apply and all that. And just make sure you have good profile para yung mga employers or schools would be enticed to invite you for an interview. To be honest, China preferred someone who has an international teaching experience. Like myself, I had 2 years teaching in the US. Sobrang big deal sa kanila kapag may international teaching experience ka. But that doesn't limit you from applying if you don't have one. If super galing ka at kaya mong i-pull off yung interview, you can sell yourself to them with all the experiences you had in the Philippines, then why not? No one's limiting you from doing that. Competition is really tough between native speakers and non-native speakers. For subject teachers like me, science, math, PE, social studies, it's not much of a competition, pero pagalingan din talaga. When you have an interview, make sure you sell yourself. You sell it to your advantage, but not too boastful, not too bragging. You have to show them what you got and why you need to be hired by their school. Again, it's tough competition. It's up to you on how you make them say yes to you. Don't forget, you have to make sure that you have your updated CV. You have an introduction video, like 1 to 2 minutes of introduction. Maybe you have some video lessons, because in my case, I did a video for DepEd TV. Whenever I send applications to any schools in China, I would send a link so that they could go through that and check out and for them to see how I speak, how I introduce the lesson and all that, so that they would have an idea and be like, oh, okay, he speaks good, let's invite him for an interview. So, nasa inyo yung paano nyo papagandahin yung profile nyo para makuha nyo yung atensyon ng mga schools, especially mga principals. And then wait for a principal or someone from the school to contact you for interview. By the way, most of the interviews I had were through WeChat. So make sure you create your WeChat account. WeChat is the parang messenger such as China. You need to create that account. I think you need some help from someone who has WeChat account, but I think there's a workaround for that. Again, WeChat is like a messenger, video call and everything, and communication will be done through that. Yung email hindi masyado eh. Basta WeChat. You have to make sure you have your WeChat so that you're ready once they invite you for an interview. Some of the schools will ask you to do a demonstration. Some of them will just ask you for a video demonstration. You just have to send it to them and they'll watch it. In my case, I did some video demonstration. I think I had 5 schools na nag-interview sa akin. And luckily, I got like 3 offers. I think, yeah, 3 offers. And I chose this school that I have right now because they have better compensation, better benefits, and basta, maganda siya. Getting an email from principal can be frustrating. Some of you would be asking, "Wala, 1 week na or 1 month na, wala pa rin akong email sa principal." Then you probably need to revisit your profile and see what you're lacking, what you're missing. Maybe you could ask some help from those teachers na nasa China na. If you need some help with interview, you could send a message to me. I'll try to help you out if I could and if I have time. Once you have an offer from a school, then you're so close to reaching your target, which is coming here in China. Again, a rule of thumb, make sure you check the contract, make sure you choose. I always say collect and select. Get interviewed by a lot of schools, and when you have the offer, try to check and weigh the pros and cons, which one is better. Do a research sa city na mapupuntahan nyo. Will it be accessible? But most of the cities naman dito sa China are pretty much accessible, especially sa place ko, sa Hangzhou. Para siyang BGC na pagka Manhattan, New York, parang ganon. Pero again, do a lot of research and ask people around if they know this school, if they know this place, how's the transportation and everything before you decide on which school you wanted to teach here. Once you're done and selected the school, then make sure you follow all the instructions of the HR. The HR will be asking for a lot of documents, like scanned copy of documents from your apostille documents, for the passport copy. What else? A lot of documents. Just make sure you give it to them as soon as possible because these are the documents they'll be needing to apply for your work notification letter. The work notification letter coming from your school is the #1 document that the Chinese embassy will be asking from you if you're going to be applying for the Z visa. Everyone who wanted to teach here in China should have the Z visa because when you enter China, they'll be looking for that. And then your school, when you are already here, your school will be the one to help you out to request for the work permit. The problem with some agents, because I've experienced that, some agents don't want to go through the lengthy process in the Philippines and would ask you to just go maybe to Hong Kong, to Singapore, para mag-backdoor entry. That's illegal. May gumagawang ibang teachers niya, we can't say anything about that, but it's illegal. Mahirap nang mahuli, so better be sure than be sorry in the future. Now hear me out. A lot of schools are backing out in the middle of the transaction dahil sobrang tagal ng process sa Philippines. I'm not sure why Philippines is making it complicated. But yeah, so once you're done signing the contract sa school, tell them that the contract needs to be authenticated. I repeat it. The contract needs to be authenticated by whom? By the Philippine consulate located in China. So marami namang locations sa China. May Beijing, may Shanghai. I'm not sure for the others. But yun yung most 2 common Philippine consulates in China. Again, it has to be authenticated. Now, POEA would request you to use the POEA model of the contract. So just give them a template. Give the template to the HR. Tell them to fill it out based from your contract. And the same contract needs to be notarized sa China. Then, pagka notarized na yun sa China, dadalhin yan sa Philippine consulate sa China din. Could be Beijing, Shanghai, or what have you. Now, problem is, HR would not go to that Philippine consulate. Especially malayo or extra burden or what have you. In my case, nagsabi na lang ako sa HR ko na there are some agents who would go on behalf of the school or the HR, but you have to pay for them. So, luckily, nakakuha siya ng agent. So, binigay lang yung document, pinanotarize niya. Yung agent pumunta sa Philippine consulate doon, pina-authenticate. Pagka-authenticate, tell your HR na yung authenticated copies should be mailed through post. Kailangan from China to Philippines because you need to have the original copy of those contracts. Why? Because you need that sa POEA kapag i-release na ang iyong OEC. Ang haba, di ba? Ang galing, Pilipinas. The entire process of authenticating your contract would take a lot of time. In my case, it took me like 3 weeks bago ko na-receive yung original copy ng contract. And you need to have a lot of patience. And you need to always check and get updates from your HR para alam mo yung timeline mo. Kasi nga, masyadong mahaba talaga siya, promise. You need to inform your HR about the contract authentication process because most of the schools in China, hindi nila alam yung process. Kasi ang galing natin mag-invento sa Pilipinas. Pero yeah, you have to inform them para alam nila yung process, alam nila yung gagawin. Para updated ka rin. Going back to the work notification letter, you need to get that because you need it for your Z visa application. That process of getting work notification letter would take 3 weeks. Some of the cities would take a month. In my case, it took me only 3 weeks bago sinend ng aking employer or ng HR yung work notification letter. And then as soon as I have it, dinala ko na siya sa Chinese embassy to apply for Z visa. I'm telling you, ang haba ng process. You have to be really patient. So if you can tell your HR to do the work notification letter request and authentication of contract simultaneously, that's even better. Because pag hinintay mo yung isa, tatagal lang siya, baka next year ka pa makarating dito. There are times na hindi pwedeng inauthorize yung contract mo for authentication until makuha mo yung work permit. Like what happened to my case, they had to wait for my work notification letter. After nun, saka lang nila pwede pa-authenticate yung contract. So it took me like 3 weeks for getting the work notification letter and another 3 weeks to get the contract authentication. It happens, it's case to case. It depends on the city. At kung gaano rin sila kabilis mag-process ng iyong request. So let's say you have your work notification letter coming from your HR. As I've mentioned, you need to go online through the Chinese embassy website so that you can get your COVA, which is COVA, and also your AVAS or AVAS. How do you get those forms? Nasa online lang siya. Punta kayo sa website ng Chinese embassy, fill out all the necessary information, print it out, together with your appointment letter coming from the Chinese embassy website. Once you have all those documents, check all the requirements that's needed. Some of the embassy from anywhere would request for different kinds of documents. In my case, when I went there, they only asked for my COVA, for my AVAS, for a copy of my photo, passport. They even asked for my old passports. What else did they ask? They asked for my contract. The contract, it doesn't have to be the authenticated one. So kahit hinihintay mo pa lang yung contract mo from the school in China, pwede mo muna ibigay sa kanila yung contract na galing mismo sa school. Kasi iba yun, di ba? Yung pinapa-authenticate mo sa China, sa embassy doon, is the one gamit yung POEA model. Yung initial contract na binigay sa iyo ng China is pwede mo siyang gamitin sa Chinese embassy for your Z visa application. So once you have all those, ready ka na. What else hiningi sa akin? Well, they didn't ask for my CV because my friend told me na hiningi sa kanya yung CV, certificate of employment from the past schools na nagturo siya. What else? Ang dami pa eh. Yung iba, basta ang dami daw hiningi, pero sa akin basic lang. Siguro kasi meron na experience abroad. I don't know. Pero depende kasi siya sa officer eh. Pero just bring all your documents para sure ka na wala kang makakalimutan. Getting a Z visa would only take you less than a week. So, at my time, Monday ako nag-apply and then Friday, na-release na yung Z visa ko on my passport for sure. Now, meron bang nade-decline sa Z visa? I think wala naman kasi pag in-interview ka, well, wala naman talagang interview. Pag kinuha yung documents mo and everything, bibigyan ka nila ng slip na nakalagay doon kung kailangan ka babalik for release. Siguro naman, kung meron kang documents na kailangan pa, papabalikin ka na lang nila. Pero wala pa naman ako narinig na na-decline na Z visa, especially if you have all the necessary documents. So, haba, di ba? So, let's say meron ka ng Z visa sa passport mo. Pwede ka na bang lumipad? Hindi pa. And this is the most exciting part. You know what? The OEC or the Overseas Certificate, Employment Certificate. What? It's the Overseas Employment Certificate. Yon. This is the most exciting part of the process. Kasi ang tagal niya. lumalaban din siya talaga. Grabe. The OAC, isang maliit lang siyang paper na nakalagay din yung information mo at ito yung number 1 na hihingin sa immigration sa airport kapag lalabas ka, especially your OFWs. Now, how do you do this? You go to the portal of DMW or the Department of Migrant Workers, fill it out. There's phase 1 and phase 2. May mga documents specifically for phase 1 and then approval, and there are also documents for phase 2. Now, I'm not gonna talk about the process ng pagkuha ng OEC kasi masakit sa ulo. I'll probably have another video especially for that. But I'm just telling you, there's phase 1 and phase 2. The entire process would take you 15 working days. If medyo may delay, tawag lang kayo sa kanila to follow up, or you can even go to their office to follow up. Now, it's a long process. The documents are pretty straightforward naman, like medical, you also need insurance, everything is on the website. You just need to read through that and make sure you have all the documents. There are some documents that would ask you to have it notarized sa kahit anong city. Basta marami siya. Check nyo na lang online. Again, I'll probably make another video for the OEC alone. Again, OEC takes 3 weeks or 15 working days on an average. There may be some delays depending on your documents. Just have to follow up with them. Woo! So kapag meron ka ng OEC, you're ready to go, book ka muna ng ticket mo. Well, you can actually book a ticket right after mo call me OEC. And especially, mura lang naman yung ticket papuntang China. When I was in the US, you need like $1,500 to get a back and forth ticket. But here, it's only like $200 to $300. Well, actually, one way lang pala siya. So like $150 would be enough for you to get a ticket to China. Make sure you have all your documents ready with you pag nasa airport na kayo. If you wanted to know the documents na kakailanganin sa airport, you can check my other vlog. It's my journey from Philippines to China. I mentioned there kung ano yung mga documents na required para makalusot kayo sa immigration. Yeah, it's a pretty long process, but thanks for watching. If you have any questions, please just let me know. I'll try to reply to your messages. And I'll see you here in China. China is a very great country. It's too bad that media has projected China in a different, like, negative way. But I'm telling you right now, I've lived in Dubai, I've lived in the US, and now I'm in China. And China is a great country. I don't know with other cities, but Hangzhou is a great city to live in. It's very accessible. The cost of living here is like Philippines. Parang 50 pesos or 100 pesos higher lang siya sa Philippines. Pero super ganda. And the sahod, like 10 months to 1 year na sahod ng regular teachers sa Philippines. So imagine, you would love it here because I've only been here for like over a year, but I'm loving it so far. And the school that I'll be teaching is very laid back and maganda yung benefits nila. Even my housing was actually covered nila, so I don't have to worry about anything. But yeah, that's it for now. I see you in China, and thanks for watching. If you have any friends who want to teach here in China, just send them a link of my video. Maybe it could help, maybe not, I don't know. But yeah, see you all here. Bye.